Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 2010's She's Out of My League. This one was requested by D-Pain, T-Pain's brother.
What up, D?
Give me a call. I want to get set up on T-Pain's Twitch stream. Apparently he's
No.
making a lot of money doing that. So I didn't know you can make money being bad at video games, but apparently T-Pain is doing exactly that.
Well, if
So,
that's the case, watch out, world. Here I come.
but if you want to follow the show, you can follow us on the social medias on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at Kiss the Reviews. And if you want to join us and join the party on Patreon, you can join us at Kiss the Reviews on Patreon.
A
It's
lot
a
of
couple
fun.
bucks. It's a couple bucks. It's a lot of fun. You get if you haven't joined yet, you'll get the full Amy Chronicles. It's all the pre-gaming before we actually record.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the Amy Chronicles, you get some bathroom talk, you get us talking and complaining about HOAs and dying, like leaving Las Vegas. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you
Pretty
can
cool.
get basically you just get a little more insight into who we kind of are
Yeah,
before this show really starts.
yeah.
So we're
And
fucked up.
we're both mental. So
Oh
it's
metal on.
we'll metal. So let's get into the cast of She's Out of My League. This film stars Jay Baruchel as Kirk, Alice Eve as Molly, and TJ Miller as Stainer.
And special shout out to Lindsay Sloan, who plays Marnie, because she's incredible. Loved
Yes.
her in this movie. Also, Kristen Ritter.
Yes, Kristen Ritter. She's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
One of
this
my favorites.
correct me if I'm wrong, but this is one of the first times we really saw her. I
This
don't
was
think
one of
she
the
had done
first
Breaking
times.
Bad yet or anything like
Yeah,
that.
this was one of the first times I remember seeing her
Yeah.
in anything. But yeah, she hadn't done Breaking Bad. Jessica Jones was like 2015.
Hmm.
Breaking Bad, she was in at around the same time, I think.
Yeah.
But
But no, she
yeah,
was fantastic in this.
but I was also late to the Breaking Bad craze.
Mm.
So this was the first time I had actually seen her in anything. But I love her. And can we say, like, all I kept thinking about was How to Train Your Dragon through this whole thing? Like, every time I hear Jay Baruchel's voice, I'm like, is Toothless going to show up? My mind gets transported into How to Train Your Dragon because
Hmm.
if you have kids and you've seen that movie, and if you do have kids, you've seen it 1,000 times when that movie came out. That's literally, as soon as I hear his voice, that's all I hear.
Keeping this much raw Vikingness contained, there will be consequences.
I'll take my chances.
And Deborah Jo Rupp, by the way, as the mom,
Hmm.
is absolutely fantastic. Love her too. In
Yep.
everything she shows up in.
Oh
But
yeah. This whole cast is really, really good.
it was well put together.
Hmm.
But so the movie opens with Kirk practicing a speech that he wants to give his ex-girlfriend to get back together, his ex-girlfriend Marnie. And his friends give him some advice on how to get her back, and it doesn't go well. And I mean, right off the rip, I have a don't do that.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, people that are trying to get your ex back, right? First of all, don't. It's once it's over, it's just over. You'll never rekindle the thing from the beginning. Like that'll never happen. And all you're doing is thinking about like the cool shit that happened in the past and not all the bullshit. But here's the other part of this. When your friends tell you to have your ex believe that you've been on a snatch parade, don't use those exact words. It won't work.
You were correct.
That's so ridiculous. And especially, like, look, dude, when you look like me, everybody knows you haven't been on a snatch parade. Shut the fuck up. If you were, you wouldn't be here fucking begging for your ex-girlfriend back. We look like us. We maybe fucked a fat chick. That's what happened. We got drunk and we fucked a fat chick like 2 days after we broke up. And ever since then, it has been dry handing it the whole way through.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, and my favorite part about this movie is, I mean, obviously the scenarios are funny and all the comedic actors in this are hilarious. But his ex, Marnie, and her new boyfriend are literally part of his family. They're like best friends with the mom, the dad, the brother, the whole nine. And they're closer to his family than he is.
Yeah, and I like how they're setting this up where basically all of his friends are constantly telling him he's a piece of shit in the nicest way possible, but it's constantly, you're not cool, you're not great, don't try.
Yeah.
And his parents have basically led him to believe that because they dote on his brother Dylan, I think, who's just an epic piece of shit, like any brother who's been doted on.
Yes.
You know, he's a moron. He can't do anything. His pregnant wife is the marshal's lady, which is awesome. But like just this whole setup of how he is so down on himself that it's just created this world where he is the most pathetic human being in existence. Zero self-confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Armando brought it up a few shows ago. Follow your Uncle Corey's lead. Fake self-confidence wins every time.
Every time.
Especially when you look like me and Jay Baruchel. It's like, yo, what the fuck are they so cocky about? And then it immediately goes to, they're packing something in them pants.
The only difference between you and him
And we're not.
are that he's a better actor. Like, that's all. Like,
and he's Canadian.
Tomato. It's fine.
Hey, fuck you. I'm a goddamn American.
Hell yes.
We get Molly here, this hot chick that shows up at the airport where Kirk works as a security guard or a security officer for TSA. And she literally gets harassed by like everybody, all the employees in TSA. And Kirk is the only one that actually treats her like a human. And she's running late for her plane. She forgets her cell phone at security. She says, oh, don't bring it to the plane. I'll be back tomorrow. So she asks him to hold it for her until she gets back and they'll meet up and he can give her the cell phone back.
And the introduction of Kristen Ritter here, waiting for her on the plane and then calling the phone.
Yes.
So classic.
Her phone conversations, whether it's this one or later with TJ Miller, when TJ Miller's tried to do the whole like, let's get them back together kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
her interactions are so good. And if you've seen her in Jessica Jones or Breaking Bad or a lot of these other projects she's been in, you wouldn't ever realize that she's a very good comedic actress.
Oh yeah, or just a like actual nice person.
Yeah.
Like she's a knitter. She sits at home and knits.
Hell yeah. I like it.
Like you just expect her to constantly be this, because of her typecast, this real smart assy, bitchy kind of person.
Yep.
And she's not at all. She's incredibly nice.
Yeah,
it's sort of like Armando off the show and away from me.
You were correct.
So the next night, he goes to the Andy Warhol Museum to drop off Molly's phone. She's an event planner, so she's got this event going on, and she asks him to stick around. He gets kicked out after accidentally spilling a drink on the art director because of Molly's sister, who's also this like young, big piece of shit. and like this is the female version of you in my head. Like, I don't give a fuck about this job. I'm carrying around this tray of drinks or food, and like everybody can go to hell. I know I'm working for my sister, but I don't fucking care.
Yeah, no, that's 100% exactly how I have acted at every job I've been at.
Yes, which is why this is the only job Corey can actually do.
Yeah, pretty much.
After this whole thing, and after Kirk gets kicked out, Molly invites him to a Pittsburgh Penguins game. And they have like the glass seats, and he doesn't realize that it's a date. He kind of sees it as a thank you. He thinks that she's trying to set him up with her friend, and TJ immediately is like, "Oh, obviously she wants me and not my piece of shit friend who I've known forever." So you get that whole dynamic during this.
That's a total me move, by the way. That's an absolute, I've done it. The hot one does not want you. She's interested in me. You take that one. 100%.
Yeah, I'm always like, so the ugly one's mine then? That's who I'm set up with. Thanks, guys.
That's why we're friends, bro.
Exactly. That's why it works. But
it used to work. I don't think our game would work anymore.
Well, and this whole thing with Stainer and TJ Miller's character is like, we get the bowling alley scene where Stainer tells Kirk, and this is where like, it's one thing when you're friends with somebody and you're trying to be like honest with them or whatever, but like everybody just takes a huge dump on him. And Stainer tells Kirk that like, you're a 5, she's a 10, or a 9, but like a 5 can't get, you can only go 2 numbers up. Like a 5 can get a 7 can get a 9, but like a 5 can't get a 10. You can't do, and you're such a piece of shit. Like, what do you have to offer? I'm surprised this movie doesn't end after the bowling alley scene when Kirk jumps off the roof of a building. If this was a drama and not a comedy, this movie ends in 45 minutes.
Well, this is where Kirk and I totally take different paths at the fork in the road.
Yeah.
Because you, which I find it fucking hilarious that you're actually like doing this right now. This whole like, be nice to your friends woke speech. Don't make them kill themselves. You call me ugly every chance I get, or you get. Yeah, and I don't mean jokes. You're not like, oh, no, Corey, you're unattractive. You flat out say, you're ugly.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
But listen, the difference between Kirk and I is you'd be like, dude, there's no way you're picking up Alice Eve. That's impossible. And I'd be like, I will work the rest of my life to get a date. One chance date I'll enter every contest, every bullshit thing I got to do. I will make it happen because you said I couldn't do it. That's how I've like lived 90% of my life.
Yeah. And by the way, thanks for painting me as like the local asshole. They're jokes, guy. Honk honk. That's what I do.
See what he did? See what he did there? They're jokes, guy. Honk honk, you big nose fuck. I can read between the lines.
After this, Molly then invites herself to lunch at Kirk's family's house. And he introduces her to everyone. And Kirk's like white trash bumpkin ass family is surprised that he's dating Molly, and because she's so hot, and they're all like, you're a big piece of shit and you're not attractive and you're not funny and you don't have a good job. And Marnie is also there with her boyfriend, obviously.
So good.
And they all try to embarrass the fuck out of him, but this is where Marnie's character starts to shine. because now she's jealous that he's dating Molly. So now she's just like, yeah, I don't wear panties either. And she's trying to like, the best part is when he gets there, they're in the pool. All the guys are in a boner. The fact that his brother has tighty whities on in the pool was fucking, I don't know who made that choice. Perfect choice. Perfect choice. But
well,
after,
especially because I'm sorry, it's such a great choice, especially because it seems so perverted and gross when they're like, dude, just wear your underwear, get in the pool. And they actually weren't. He's literally wearing it's not a big deal to them.
Yeah.
That's what I just love, that little touch on the scene. It's like when Marnie wears the dress out of the, like, she goes in and changes it for lunch and comes out and does the no panties scene. Yes. She's wearing the exact same dress that Kristen Ritter and Alice Eve were making fun of when they were shopping for her first date with Kirk.
What about this for your date tonight?
Katie, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
That's the funny part about that, but also the fact that like Marnie sees Molly, immediately gets jealous, and then everybody comes in from, pool time and boner time. And then she comes out and she's all done up. And like now it's a competition.
Yep. And her constantly comparing herself to Alice Eve's character, Molly. And everybody in Kirk's family being like, what? No. Come on. You and her. No. It's so fucking good, dude. It is really so good. And you see they're not just being mean to Kirk, they're just assholes.
Yes.
They're just trash.
Yes.
Period.
This is the epitome of trash. Like this whole fucking family.
And my favorite scene in this whole part, and I'll let it go. My favorite scene though is when they're talking, Dylan and his wife are talking about the NASCAR themed wedding they want to have. And asking Molly to come up with a price for it, and she gives the price. And literally the whole table says, fuck you.
I'd ballpark that somewhere around 50 grand.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
What?
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
And then the slap shot regala in the basement is absolutely fantastic. Like that whole brother, like this reminds me, this scene and this family reminds me of Four Christmases.
Totally.
With Vince Vaughn. Like that's Jon Favreau's character is Kirk's brother in this movie.
Yes.
Like that's, and the wife, the whole thing, it's like the exact same setup, which is great when you have that, again, like the fish out of water. Everybody's kind of a dick to Kirk and they're trashy as fuck. But like this whole scene, the whole pool scene, Molly getting introduced is fucking fantastic. But they get back to Molly's place and they start fucking around, and Kirk comes in his pants as Molly's parents show up. And after the dog starts licking his crotch, he immediately just bounces, like awkwardly leaves and runs out of the room.
First off, 2 points here. One, I don't want to hear any bullshit about Kirk not being a man or like, I would have fucking killed that pussy. If Alice Eve is grinding on top of you and kissing on your neck and ear, whispering shit in your ear, every normal guy on this planet is jitting in his pants. It takes a Brad Pitt level cocksman to withstand that kind of foreplay.
You were right.
Yeah, you have to be on some sort of like Leo DiCaprio level to be able to get through that without having an accident.
Yes, 100%. And my second point is, this is the only appropriate reaction in this situation. Parents show up, dogs licking cum off of your pants, everybody's sitting around there looking confused. You didn't shake the dad's hand. You have to run away looking as stupid as humanly possible.
The only other option is to pretend to accidentally spill a drink on your crotch. It's the only way to stay there and get through that situation.
I've tried it. The liquid dries differently than the cum stain. So it almost looks like a sun behind a planet, like an eclipse. Actually, it looks like an eclipse is happening. So it sounds good in theory, but do not do that. The only other option to really get out of that is to piss on yourself, because the minerals in the pee will mix with the cum and dry in a weird way that it all just stains the front of your pants. But then you have to go down as a pants peer. So,
well, welcome to Dr. Wizard's World with Corey. Mr.
There
Wizard's
is not
World.
a human being. There is not a human being on this planet that is jitted in his pants more than me. I can promise you that.
Hell yes.
But so after this whole interaction and him bouncing on her parents, and because she tells him like the whole background, like my dad's very, shake his hand, look him in the eye, very traditional. Things cool off between them. And at an air show, because her ex-boyfriend was like a pilot and she's doing some event at an air show. So at the air show, Kirk tells Molly what actually happened that night, and she forgives him, and they continue dating, which, by the way, this isn't a don't do that. This is a totally do that. The way he approaches, and this is the one piece of friend advice that, like, if you're going to take advice from your group of 3 friends that he has in this movie, you take advice from the most attractive one out of the 3. He at least knows kind of what's going on. He's dated some hotter women, obviously. So, and he's just like, dude, just tell her. What's the worst that's going to happen? Like, at this point, she's not talking to you. So what's the worst that's going to happen? Just tell her what happened. And the way he presents it to her, and what's her name? Molly's friend is there. She's there. And her reaction, what's her name? Kristen Ritter's reaction to him telling the story is probably my favorite part of the scene, because she's out loud laughing at the whole situation. And he just tells her and walks away. Yeah.
There is nothing else to do in this situation. He handles it so perfectly. And even like, he doesn't use like a jizzed, I fucking yitted, I fucking came. He says I ejaculated, which just makes it better.
I ejaculated my pants.
Every time you are in a bad situation where something like that has happened, even if it's like, oh, I accidentally peed my pants. I urinated on myself.
Yep.
It immediately alleviates all of the grossness, and it just becomes funny.
Yes. Yeah, you got to go medical with it.
Yep.
Yeah, because you can't be like, yo, I yeeted in my pants.
Every time.
But at this air show, Molly's ex, Cam, tells Kirk that he wants Molly back and asks him to put in a good word because he thinks that Kirk is gay. Like, Molly. That's obviously Molly's gay friend, because he's such an unattractive piece of shit that there's no way that he's straight.
Been there.
I've been there as well.
And it always comes with the weird homophobia that Footlong here displays. Because he is such a piece of shit with it.
First of all, if your call sign is Footlong, fuck you. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, you better have won a fucking hot dog eating contest, motherfucker.
You can't be a pilot and have a huge cock. Come on.
You were correct.
I think that's why John McCain got shot down. That's why God deemed John McCain worthy of being a POW and having to go through that tortures. They're like, you're a fucking awesome combat pilot. You're incredibly intelligent, and you got a giant dick. We're shooting you the fuck down. You got to go through some shit.
You got to have a negative. You got to have
something.
But we get this montage here of Molly and Kirk hanging out. And Kirk convinces Molly to throw her sister a party for her 21st birthday. And the thing that makes me laugh about this whole scene, and then like preparing for this party, is Kirk has to tell Molly that your sister's turning 21. You're an event planner. You should probably plan a party for your sister. And she was just like, I didn't even think of that.
No, Molly doesn't seem like she seems like she's a lot of fun when you take her out, but she's never going to be the one to be like, I got a great idea. Let's do this.
Yes,
She's always like, we can just stay home and read a book.
exactly. Well, I do know, and I have known in the past, like party planners and people in that industry, when they're not working, they just shut their shit down. They're over it. I don't want to plan another motherfucking thing. Period.
No.
Kirk then does some prep work to shave his junk on the advice of his friends. And he has his buddy Devin help him. And just I'm not even going to do it. Don't do that here. I have a question. There has been quite a few movies. I'm not even going to say a bunch, a ton, but there's been a few movies where the shaving of the pubic area and balls have been a part of the movie. I remember the first conversation very vividly that I had when I was told, like, yeah, you should probably do that. If you expect that from a woman, you should probably do that. Neither here nor there. We've all been there when we've had that conversation. It's not complicated. Every one of these, now the scene is fucking hilarious, but every one of these movies is like, well, we got to have the funny scene where he tries to shave his cock and balls, and it's like a whole thing. I mean, if you're using clippers, yeah, it might be a little bit, because you could nick yourself. It's happened, whatever. Guy, just go straight razor. What are we doing here? Let's fuck all the, hey, let's give it a fucking high top fade. Just go razor, guy, and get fucking rid of it. Do your thing.
That's insane.
Easy.
I'm not putting a fucking razor blade near my penis.
It's not difficult, guy. It's not. I'm
Good
like,
for you. Listen, I can trim like a grown-up, but I'm not trying to look like a goddamn Ken doll down there. Besides that fact, though, besides our fucking grooming habit of our balls, which is sure to fucking light YouTube on fire.
100,000 views.
Yeah. Two white guys discuss ball trimming. Besides that fact, this scene is fucking hysterical.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Because his overly sensitive friend gets down there and is actually like lifting his balls up and getting paint and underneath and shit. It's fucking insanely funny because that ain't ever happening. We all get the American Pie and just trim in, or you see a thing where hair's flying everywhere because there's so much of it.
Yeah.
This is so different and so fucking out of left field. I loved it. It's crazy. And of course, they're setting up this character the whole movie to be in this one scene where he volunteers to help Kirk shave his balls.
Yes. Yeah.
And actually like take his time and do it correctly. Not like using salad tongs and like, ugh.
And by the way,
like he's in the mix.
Oh, no, he is in the mix. And by the way, you want to use clippers on the upper part? That's fine. Do your thing, man. Balls, you gotta go cleanly shorn. You gotta really get in there. You gotta put in the work.
Hell yes.
We then go to the birthday party where Stainer's Hall & Oates cover band is playing.
Awesome.
And Cam shows up at the party, tells Kirk that Molly has this birth defect and that she's not perfect. And after the party, this is where Molly and Kirk go back to her place where she shows him her defect, which is her webbed feet, her webbed toes. And he tells her that she's too perfect. They shouldn't be together. They argue about Kirk's self-esteem issues and he bounces like he's over it. And in this scene is where like when they're getting undressed in this very like first time uncomfortable, I take stuff off, you take stuff off kind of thing. When he's just standing there in his boxers, I went, oh my God, it's Corey. This was the moment.
It's pretty accurate. It was
It
definitely
really
me.
is.
It was real. That was definitely me at that age.
Oh yeah, in
Nowadays,
your
there's a
20s?
lot more fat that is disguised as like, oh, he's got some muscle, and it's like, no, that's just fat that hasn't fallen all the way yet. It's like hanging on the cliff in the titty area, especially.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, like, no, that was definitely me. That
Yes.
being said, I got mine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and by the way, just another little bit of advice. Don't have this fucking argument. You got a very attractive girl who's also very nice that wants to bang you and not only just wants to bang you, like it's not even like a pity fuck. Like she wants to bang you and date you. Just let it happen, guys. Just let it happen. Guys and gals around.
This is why
hot girl wants to bang. Just ride that fucker out.
This is why I'm so thankful I grew up Generation X. Because we bury our insecurities deep within our souls, and then we find a nerd to take it all out on.
Yes. And if you are that nerd, you find another one that's nerdier than you.
There's always somebody else down the line that you can just fuck up verbally that makes you feel better about yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's usually you're saying all the shit you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
You tiny dick, skinny, non-performing motherfucker. You couldn't make a bitch come if you tried, motherfucker.
I bet you come in your pants all the time.
Mm-hmm. They're like, where the fuck is he? What's he talking about? Yeah, it's all your shit.
But it's funny because like after this, like this is literally I've seen this in Friends. Like after this scene, Kirk and Marnie start their relationship back up because she obviously wants him because he's been with Molly and yada yada. So like, but Molly or Marnie's ex-boyfriend is still friends with the family. They're like, his family's like a piece of shit magnet where it's just like, if you're a piece of shit, you could just hang out with us. Like they're still going on vacations together. And now Kirk and Marnie are dating, but like he's still tagging along.
Well, Marnie even says like at one point she wants to get back together with Kirk, and she's even willing to maybe consider dumping Ron.
Yes.
So this leads me to believe they're on this plane. Kirk is resigned to the fact that he's just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's never gonna, he just needs to take what he gets and shuts the fuck up about it. So it leads me to believe Marnie's together with both of them. She's living the dream.
Yeah. Oh no, she absolutely is.
She's got this little cuck who's going to buy anything she wants, this simp fuck. And on her other side, she's got the guy who's raw dogging her the way she wants. She is set up.
Yeah.
She's the Beyonce of Greater Milwaukee.
She's getting her cake and eating it too.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where Stainer jumps on the plane. He tries to get Kirk off the plane and he's like, oh, you're a 10, you're not a 5. And we go through all this. He gets kicked off the plane. And then this is where he calls Patty, Molly's friend.
Mm-hmm.
And Jessica Jones and him have this, their little back and forth, which is absolutely hilarious.
Cool. And we're back to talking.
Kirk then tries to get off the plane, but they're already taxiing, so he has to stay there. And like he gets off the plane because the other friend like grounds the plane.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the whole like, I got off the plane, I'm running down to go see her, but she's already at the gate. So we get all the craziness and the hoopla here. But
and Marnie is sick of being disrespected.
Yeah.
And is chasing Kirk the whole time.
Yes.
And ends up delivering one of the best clotheslines ever.
Yes, absolutely. I will for one of these scenes where it's, you know, all the whatever, the hoopla and chasing through and the cat and mouse kind of thing. And the slapstick of it all. I typically don't like these types of scenes because they do get a little corny and overblown. This one was actually done well. And I think it was because of like Marnie chasing. It wasn't just the guy going to try to find the girl. Well, no, now you have his girl chasing him. He's going, and like that whole thing made the scene funny and bearable.
Oh yeah, like she fucks him up and then he fucking slaps the shit out of her with a bag and sends her flying, which is fucking hilarious.
Yep.
Like the whole scene just works, and it continues with a comedy, which a lot of these romantic comedies stop doing once you get to like, oh, we are in love.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes a fucking love story, period. And it's like, oh, shut the like it gets corny. Comedy writers should not write love scenes. It's fucking gross.
Yes.
So with this, they keep it with the comedy and it works. You don't get lost in this Sleepless in Seattle moment where we're all meeting on the Empire State Building. Get the fuck out of here. They stay true to themselves and it works so well.
No, it does. And even at the very end where they're face to face, even that's written really well. It has its funny moments. It still has the comedic piece of it. And the movie ends as Molly takes a trip in a small plane with Kirk being the pilot, and he was taking flying lessons all along because he wanted to be a pilot. And now it's like, yay, this is where you get your cheesy ending kind of story piece, which I'm good with it, because if you don't stick around, the movie just ends at the airport. If you stick around for a little bit of the credits, that's where you get like them going onto the plane and him flying. And he's like, I've been taking flying lessons and I'm going to be a pilot because I told you that in Act 1. So,
which here's what I appreciate about this scene is, one, sure, like he's wearing his better clothes, right? His hair's done. He's got his glasses on. He looks cool getting in the plane.
Yeah.
And he's like, you ever been to San Francisco? Yeah, good, because we're going to Cleveland. Like, that stays true to what this movie is.
Yeah.
He can't afford to take somebody. I can't afford to take somebody to San Francisco, and I'm worth millions of dollars. There's no fucking way. So him just being like, yeah, I can afford to take you to Cleveland for the weekend. That makes sense. Anyone can afford to Cleve.
Don't let Corey fool you. He's worth millions of Shiba Inu, which is like $4.
Yeah. And
he's like, I'm balling. I'm a millionaire in Shiba Inu.
Yeah, I'm just not liquid. I'm just not liquid right now. I'm not liquid.
No, dude, I really like this movie. It's been a while since I've seen it. The cast is amazing. And when you get a cast like this in a romantic like this is, I typically don't like romantic comedies because of some of the reasons that you said before. When we get to the end, it just becomes this love story.
Yeah.
And the comedy kind of falls away. This is comedy from front to back. They wrote it really well. And the cast that they put together, like, I don't know who the casting director was. Like, I don't know who was all involved, but they did a phenomenal job with the entire cast.
Oh yeah, no, this movie's a lot of fun. I think it goes under the radar because a lot of the Apatow films that came out, Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin, shit like that. That's so good. This one kind of gets swept under the rug, but it is low key, incredibly funny.
Yeah.
Like you said, the cast is really good. It's written really well. It's paced out good for a romantic comedy. I don't really have a problem at all with this movie.
No,
I like it quite a bit. Maybe it's just because I think I deserve to be with somebody like Alice Eve. Alice, give me a call. But, you know, overall, like, I take a lot of inspiration from it.
Yeah.
I just think it's a really funny movie. It's very underrated.
Yeah, I think it's very underrated too. I think it's hilarious. It's one of those films. When it got requested, I went, it was just, it was like, I didn't even, and I had seen it and liked it, but when it got requested, I just went, she's out of my league. And then I watched it again. I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot this was really fucking funny.
Yeah, no, it's just,
because it gets overshadowed.
Comedy.
Yeah, it gets overshadowed by some of those other comedies that came out at around the same time.
Yeah, and
So-
it doesn't go for the same hard R humor. It is R humor, like
Yeah.
the rated R, but it doesn't have that same kind of discussions with just, the guys talking about titties and pussies
Yeah.
and slamming ass, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have that aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's a little I think that's where the difference comes in. But
Yeah.
no, it's a great movie.
And I give it an A+ just for the use of Snatch Parade at the beginning of this. I've never heard that in a movie, and I appreciated it.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
I feel really stupid for going on pub crawls when I could have been on snatch parades the whole time.
Exactly. I think we'll end it there. For Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 2010's She's Out of My League.